Hello and welcome to AVR TV. My name is Jesse Hunter and I'm a technical marketing engineer at Atmel Corporation. The STK500 is a low-cost starter kit and development board for the AVR microcontrollers. It is fully compatible with our free AVR Studio integrated development environment. There are three main sections to the STK500 board: control, target socket, and user interface. The control section is responsible for interfacing the PC with the rest of the board. The target socket section contains PDIP sockets, programming headers, and configuration jumpers. The user interface section has jumpers for each of the AVR I/O ports, LEDs, and push-button switches. Now let's take a deeper look at each of the individual sections. At the heart of the control section are two AVR microcontrollers. One is responsible for communicating to the PC via RS-232, programming devices on the target socket section, and controlling the overall board functionality. This includes an onboard clock generator, reference and supply voltages, and various other control functions. The other AVR is responsible for performing and ensuring proper firmware updates. The board can be powered by 10 to 15 volts DC, and both polarities are supported. When interfacing with a PC, a serial cable must be connected to the RS-232 control port. A second RS-232 port, labeled RS-232 spare, is available to interface with the USART of your target device. A reset push button controls the reset line of the target socket section. Pressing this button will reset the device. A program push button is available for manual firmware upgrade of the board. Additional information can be found in the user guide. Now let's cover the target socket section. The target socket section contains PDIPs for 8, 20, 28, and 40-pin AVR devices. The STK500 has two expansion connectors, one on each side of the board. All I/O ports, programming, and control signals are routed to the expansion connectors. A range of top modules can be inserted into these connectors to support devices greater than 40 pins and AVR with features such as LCD and USB functionality. The ISP 6-pin and ISP 10-pin headers are connected to the serial programming logic of the control section. To serial program your target device, a 6-pin ribbon cable needs to be inserted in the ISP 6-pin and one of the colored SPROG headers. The color of the SPROG header corresponds to the color of the target device section. A series of configuration jumpers are also available. The VTarget, AREF, and reset jumpers connect signals from the control section to the target socket section. These supply target voltages, analog references, and reset to the target device. All AVR devices have an internal RC oscillator. However, if an external crystal or clock is desired, it can be connected to the STK500 crystal socket. The XTEL1 and OSSELECT jumpers control the connection between the target onboard clock generator and the crystal socket selection. The P-jump and B-select jumpers, program control, and program data headers are used for high voltage programming. More information on high voltage programming and matching AVR devices to the proper colored sockets can be found in the user guide. Next, we'll discuss the user interface section. This section contains headers for all I/O ports on supported devices: Port A, Port B, Port C, Port D, and Port E. Port E is also the auxiliary port and has pins for reset and crystal inputs. The push-button switches are connected to the switches header. When a button is pressed, a logic 0 is applied to the corresponding switch pin. When not pressed, a pull-up resistor keeps the level at a logic 1. The LEDs are connected to the LED header. Applying a logic 0 on an LED line turns on the LED. 2 separate ground pins are also available. The RS-232 spare header is connected to the RS-232 spare connector in the control section. For more information on topics not discussed here, please consult the user guide, which can be found in the AVR Studio help files. If you want to learn more about interfacing the STK500 with AVR Studio, please watch the AVR Studio Overview podcast. For more information on debugging on the STK500 with JTAG ICE Mark II, please watch the Debugging with the JTAG ICE Mark II podcast.